Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Proletarian. I am back. Things have been a little busy around here, both jobs, and I'm doing a bathroom remodel on the floor downstairs. My bathroom is all ripped apart. I'm going to be working on that this afternoon. But really, the reason I haven't been posting very regularly hasn't been a lack of time. It's not that hard to find a couple of hours to shoot a video and some B-roll, and then another couple of hours to do some editing. I am slow. I'm sure some of you younger guys can probably edit a video in like 5 minutes. It takes me a bit longer than that. But really the reason that I haven't been doing a lot of videos recently is because I kind of ran out of watches to take a look at. And knives are really a no-starter. I tried to do the knife thing, but people just don't seem to be interested. So anyway, when you don't have stuff to talk about, it's kind of hard to make videos. So I went through, this is another thing I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. I went through my collection and I did a hard assessment of my collection, and I looked at some different watches that I had, and I started weeding out redundancy, watches that were interesting at the time, but which I've already talked about and I'm not really wearing that much, so on and so forth. And I started monetizing my collection. Not all of it. Obviously, there are still some of my favorite watches that I'll never get rid of. But I sold off about 13 or 15 watches, and I've started acquiring some new inventory. And I have a package right here today. This actually contains 3 watches, but I want to unbox one of them today. We'll do the other 2 in the upcoming weeks. These are all Citizen watches, so I hope you're fans of Citizen. It seems like some of you are. I was actually recommended at least one Citizen model several times in response to a video I did about 6 months ago. And in looking for that particular Citizen, I found an outfit on eBay that's sort of a clearinghouse for factory reconditioned Citizen watches. And the prices are so good, I don't want to run the risk of like becoming the Citizen channel, but the prices were so good, I just kept dragging stuff into my shopping cart, and I ended up with 3 watches, and there might be another 1 or 2. But the watch I want to take a look at today is kind of interesting. It's not one of the ones that was recommended to you. It's not one that I had ever heard of before. And it actually, I ended up buying it because I was scrolling through, looking at all the thumbnail images of watches. And Citizen is a strange company. They've got a few bread and butter models like the ProMaster Diver that are always in the catalog. They're very well known and very beloved. But they have a lot of other watches that just come and go right through the catalog. I've looked at a lot of discontinued models recently that, you know, they were in the catalog for 3 years and then they're gone. And a lot of the sort of run-of-the-mill watches that Citizen has in their catalog have a lot of unnecessary graphics and things on the dial. And some of them are just not very attractive, but I don't know. I guess Citizen just kind of throws stuff out there to see what works. But I'm scrolling through looking at these thumbnails, and a very, very plain watch actually kind of jumped out and caught my attention. And there wasn't anything, as I say, very specifically interesting about it. It was actually very, very remarkable in its plainness. And I saw something down at the bottom of the dial. I zoomed in and I went, oh, that's strange. And especially because it's coming out of a clearinghouse in Houston, it's strange. And I'll explain that in a minute. I keep getting complaints that I talk too much, and we are going over to the tabletop in just a second. But the watch I want to take a look at today and unbox, and I'll be doing reviews later on, but this is just an unboxing. I've only had a little bit of a peek inside the box, and I'm chomping at the bit to get a better look at it. But this is the Citizen BL5594-59E, and it's a really interesting watch, and I probably don't have much more to say about it. And some of you are probably getting pissed off. So let's move right over to the tabletop and take a look at this new watch. All right, everyone, here's our first Citizen unboxing. Again, this is the BL5594-59E. I think I mentioned in the intro, The company that I bought these Citizen watches from is a clearinghouse. They sell on eBay. They're a clearinghouse for factory refurbished watches. So every one of their watches comes in this very plain box. If the model of watch that you're interested in generally comes in something that looks like a scuba tank or a Pelican case or something like that, you're going to be disappointed to find out that it's just going to come in this very conservative, very boring cardboard box. They're pretty much all the same. It's just a sleeve. We'll set that off to the side. And then a very, very normal slide open box. Slide the top off. And there is the BL5594-59E. Now, I mentioned I have 3 watches that I'm going to be unboxing. I got them all from the same source, and they are factory reconditioned watches, but they are not like pre-owned factory reconditioned watches. I actually bought 4 of these. I had to send one of them back for another reason, but every single one of them has been absolutely brand new in every way. I think when they say factory reconditioned, there might have been some sort of a quality control problem at the factory or something like that, and the watch had to go back through the assembly line or whatever. I don't know exactly how they go about it, but these are definitely not used reconditioned watches. And the seller on eBay, the clearinghouse for these watches, says that they've never been worn in, I think they say, gifting condition. So the watch just comes on a little pillow. This particular one did come with the original hang tag. You can see it's got all of the information on there. And as every Citizen watch says on its hang tag, it says made in Japan. But that's the really unique thing about this watch. Well, not unique, but unusual thing about this watch is most Citizen watches that say made in Japan on the tag, in fact, have a Japanese movement and they've been cased somewhere else. This watch is in fact made in Japan, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Most of these watches do not come with owner's manuals. I'll go over that a little bit later. I think this is just a paper from the... this is a very generic paper from the seller on eBay. I believe that is their name on eBay, so you can check them out if you want to, and a silica desiccant pack. But no manuals. I think a couple of these watches will come with a manual, but as I will explain later on, you can get the manuals in PDF form from Citizen watches. So anyway, the watch looks really great. I have had a bit of a peek at it already, but I've been dying to peel off the plastic, and we'll take it off the pillow here. So let's reveal the dial of the watch and the crystal and peel off the plastic. That's the first time that's been off of there. And look at that. It's got this really nicely domed crystal with very rounded edges. Now, anyone who looks at this watch can see there are definitely, I would say, design influences, which are evocative of the Omega Speedmaster. I think it's not at all a copy of the Speedmaster in any way, but just the way it all comes together. And one of the things that really sets it off is this domed crystal with very sharply curved shoulders. And I believe this crystal is just mineral glass. On a proper sapphire crystal, we should get a thermal conductivity reading that shows at least one yellow bar. Oh, we got 2 yellow bars. Well, yeah, that's a sapphire reading. It's very cold up here in the studio. You may have been able to tell that from the way I was dressed in the intro. So this is not working quite as vigorously as it would in the summertime. Let's just test this crystal and see what kind of thermal conductivity reading we get. Absolutely nothing. So no, that is in fact glass. But the thing that jumped out about this watch, it is an Eco Drive. As you can see, there's the Eco Drive logo on the back there. Most American market Citizen watches will at least say Eco Drive on the dial. This watch says absolutely nothing except Citizen. There is some text down here that's related to the module, but the text that really caught my eye, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, is right there. It says Made in Japan. And that is because the BL5594-59E is in fact a JDM model. So that caught my attention immediately. Usually you have to buy these from Japan. Usually you're paying a premium for them. This was extremely inexpensive, even by, standard Citizen standards on eBay. And of course, you can go and look these up on eBay. You might be able to still grab one. They had a few when I bought this, and that was just about a week ago. So it's got a fairly glossy black dial. There's a bit of washout because of the domed mineral glass crystal. Maybe it's not the most legible thing in the world, but when you get it at the right angle, it's beautifully clear. Now, the watch does appear to be a 3 subdial chronograph, but as you can see, when you look at the subdial at the 6 o'clock, this is not a timekeeping subdial. This is a mode selection subdial. And this is, in fact, a bit more sophisticated than a standard chronograph. This watch has dual time zones. It has an alarm, and it also, and it does also feature a chronograph. So it's a bit complicated, and I have familiarized myself with the manual from Citizen's website, but I'm not going to go into its operation here. We'll be doing that in a follow-up review. Overall, the watch is just really beautifully made. We've got solid link construction in the bracelet, solid end links. Now the clasp is in usual Japanese watch fashion. Not always anymore, but for the most part, generally folded sheet steel. Just trying to pull these papers out of here. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that sticker off on camera, but it does have 3, no, it's got 2 micro adjustment spots there, and of course the links can be removed. I imagine I will have to do that. One thing I noticed about this watch, and it seems to be indicative of JDM watches, is the bracelet is quite delicate. And when I say delicate, I don't mean that it looks like it's not robust, that it won't hold up. I mean that it's actually quite narrow by Western standards. The Japanese consumer seems to prefer a rather narrow watch bracelet. That one's just 17.8 millimeters. I first noticed this phenomenon with the Casio F84W, which is a very famous JDM model. This has an extremely narrow band at just a little under 14 millimeters. So the Citizen BL5594-59E is not as narrow as, say, the F84W, but it is quite a narrow bracelet. I've heard that these are fairly small. Let's see if it closes. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to have to remove several links, but it's a very nice looking watch, and I'm looking forward to wearing it, evaluating it, familiarizing myself with its module, and then giving it a proper review in the future. I don't want to drag this out too long. Case diameter is just about 40 millimeters. It's just about 11 millimeters off the wrist, so it doesn't sit too high. Lug width looks like it's just about 20 millimeters, and it's just about 46.5 millimeters over the lugs. So overall, just a really nice looking watch. It does feature 100 meters of water resistance, and it does have that screw down oyster type case back. So I really didn't want to drag this out too long, so why don't we go wrap this video up. So after I've had a chance to wear the BL5594-59E for a little while and evaluate it, I will be doing a more extensive review of the watch, and I'll be showing you how the module works. Again, these watches do not come with manuals for the most part, but Citizen is really, really good. If you go onto their corporate website, you can download PDF files of every user's manual for all of their different modules. And I actually have the user's manual for this module already, and I have read it, but I didn't really want to demonstrate its use without first familiarizing myself with the actual watch. So that will be coming up. I've got a couple of other unboxings to do. I'm looking at a few other watches that aren't Citizens, maybe an Alpina. I'm looking at another Seagull chronograph. So there's going to be a lot of new content coming up this year. Do not despair if you have been. I doubt that anybody's really all that invested in this channel. But if you are, I look forward to seeing you next time I'm here. Later, guys.